Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope the lockdown's treating you guys a little bit better. If it's not, as I say always before, don't forget, go and DM us if you ever need to talk. We're always here for you as well. What I want to do before I get into the wrestling is I want to do a overview of everything we're doing on the podcast. In general, and we're going to do this on all the podcasts so everyone knows and keeps up to date with what we're doing. The Reading podcast is coming back this Friday. We've taken some time off due to FA Cup and the COVID, where it got cancelled. Brentford's game got cancelled because of their players getting COVID. We are doing more live streams on Twitter. We're also doing live stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 o'clock GMT, where it's basically I'm going for a walk and you guys are going to come with me, keep me company, and we'll talk about subjects you guys want to talk about. The NFL podcast has been a massive hit. We know that 3 people have left. And we've got 2 new people in, and the 2 people that have come in have absolutely smashed it. It's been so much better than I ever expected. We're also creating a different podcast for the NFL one that will be different than you've ever experienced before. That will be coming up very, very soon. Once I get all of the little bits and pieces together and sort them out, we will get going on that, and you guys will be able to see that moving forward. As well with the Formula One is getting more views every week. It's building up to the start of the season. More things are happening. News is coming out. So we're doing a weekly overview of all the news and having little discussions ourselves. But it's been a busy week in the wrestling industry, so we say. So to start off with, we're going to talk about Raw. We're going to have an overview of Raw. We're going to do an overview of NXT, and we're going to talk about Smackdown. And then we're going to finish off with some of the news that's been going around the world. We'll talk about NXT UK just for 1 second. And then we'll talk about the WrestleManias that have been announced. Then we will talk about the Mark Henry situation. And then we will finish off with what I would like to do at the end is give you guys a little thing about Hard to Kill, Impact Wrestling's pay-per-view that they just recently did. And give you my overall view of it and go through it as quickly as I can so we don't run up too much time. We're going to try and shorten these as well, these podcasts, because I know that we ramble on for quite a long time. But we're expanding the wrestling podcast as well very, very soon, where we're going to be hitting different things and doing different stuff, but I'm just trying to work stuff out. And then that's just in the works at the moment moving forward. So let's go to Raw. Let's start off with Raw. Hello, Gulam. How are you?
All good by yourself?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I hope everything's going well with yourself.
Yes, thank you.
Good. Right, let's get into Raw. So we found out the day before Raw, or on the day of Raw, that Drew McIntyre has contracted coronavirus. Or people were more hoping, put the Goldberg, or as people are now calling him on Twitter, Oldberg. I think that's what Drew McIntyre called him in the promo, Oldberg, against Oldberg at the Royal Rumble. But unfortunately,
you gotta love how people are so anti-bullying, and then they start doing these comments. They're all like, "Oh, he's old and this and that." But I ain't gonna even get to that.
But Oldberg, but the 10 days of the coronavirus testing is way before when the Royal Rumble happens. So it's looking like it's actually going to happen. Sometimes I wonder.
Are you still ranting?
No, I've stopped. So what happened was we opened up the show with Randy Orton and Triple H, the good old trusty duo. Everyone knows will work. Everyone knows we'll start it off with a bang, and it did, didn't it?
It didn't really surprise me as much as just Randy saying the usual, finishing off the usual, or did you leave your balls in Steph's personal? That it made me laugh a little bit. I was just like, really? I just said that like 2 years ago and everything. But I'm saying, just we all know that it's just to get a little bit of buzz, and that's about it.
Yeah, and then it was Raw happened. I want to talk about Raw because I want to talk about Xavier Woods, and I want to go a bit off topic. We haven't got it written down here, but I want to go a little bit off topic. I watched the 3-hour special on the WWE Network of the best of Brody Lee.
Same here.
And I tell you what, and I also watched the New Day's tribute where they had Cesaro, Eric Rowan, and Breeze on there as well.
And Eric Rowan.
And Eric Rowan, yeah, and Rowan as well, who just it just goes to show how those certain things just hit you. And what I want to say is we all know that of how much of an impact Brody Lee was in ring, because you can see what the big guys are doing now. But you can tell now when I watch wrestling now of how much of a change that he's made in ring, being more impactful. And when I watch Austin, not Austin Creed, I'm going to call him his actual name then, Xavier Woods in the ring, it just reminds me of he's so good in that ring when he does singles that.
I've always thought he was quite underrated myself, to be fair. I mean, it was like, if you think about it, like for a while when he was in New Day, he never really got to show him what he could do in the ring, because he let Big E and Kofi do not saying he let them do the work, but it was just there to do the hype, so it wasn't really his part to really get to show what he could do. But I think in the past few years he's really shown what he can do, and it never shocked me as much as I've seen him before, so it wasn't a bigger shocker. But that said, I think that on a wider scale, he's really shown what kind of a performer he is. So, I'm happy for him.
Before we get into the ending of Raw, with the Great Balls of Fire, Raw is getting less and less views in America.
Yeah.
We're talking America-wise here. UK is always the same. It balances itself out, and more people recap it the next day because of the timings than they do watching it live. I put a question on here, and I want to get your opinion, and you'll get my opinion as well. What does Raw need to do to get more viewers, to get them enticed into wrestling again? Is it superstar wise? Is it creative? Is it the promotional wise? Is it because there's no fans and people are not enjoying the interaction with fans? What do you think it is?
I think a lot of it is because it's a lot of it. Excuse me. A lot of the times it's just the same matches every week at Raw. It's never been anything different. I think that's one problem. And I mean, they've got all the talents there, that can carry it. You've got Keith Lee, you've got Drew McIntyre, you've got Elias and all these guys that can really give a hell of a show given the opportunity to. I just think it's just creative direction just keeps laying down a lot too much. That's pretty much anything that comes to my mind.
When I watch Raw and I compare it to the other shows that I watch, I understand what Vince is trying to do. The one thing that I've found with WWE compared to the other shows that I've watched recently is, this is not a knock on WWE or anything like that, because I will always watch WWE and I'm one of those that will always watch it, is they try and vary and they try and find a way that it caters to everybody. Where if you watch Impact, they cater to the hardcore wrestling fan. If you watch AEW, they cater it to the point of where you're in between of, I do like wrestling, or you are the super fan of wrestling. With WWE, is they try and cater it too much to.
I kind of disagree on that one.
New starters.
When it comes to AEW, because I hate agreeing with Jim Cornette when he says this, but to me, AEW just really appeals to the people that just want to laugh a lot as well. So
I've watched AEW and I quite like watching AEW. It's a good brand, and what they're building is good. Good competition there for WWE. So for me, I think it's going to go well with AEW. The thing with Raw that I found is they have superstars, then they don't put them in the right position.
Definitely.
That's the only thing I find. Like Drew McIntyre should be going up against someone like a Sheamus or someone with a high-flying approach to different match styles that Drew McIntyre can do and have a bit of fun with it.
It's just become like a whole clusterfuck down there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and the thing I don't get is Bobby Lashley, very, very good wrestler, very good in the Hurt Business, not a US champion. He should be fighting for the WWE title more than he should be having that US title.
You should have fought Lesnar numerous times. I'm surprised they never capitalized on that one.
I think there's multiple reasons why that never happened. Probably because Brock doesn't really rate him. That's probably one of them. Brock will only work with people he likes. And we all know that. Look what happened at Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. Go back to that. You know that Brock never wanted to do that at all. You could see that just by the way.
I've had that discussion with so many different marks online, and they're like, "Oh, Brock." I'm just like, I've literally just said to you that he was lazy in it. Oh, but he didn't. I'm trying to say, if he doesn't want to do it, it's on him. You can't blame it on the other guy.
No. So for me, I feel like Bobby Lashley should have lost that title to Riddle. And then gone on maybe, and we'll talk about Royal Rumble picks soon, because it's getting to the stage where it's becoming Royal Rumble season, and we're going to start building to that very, very soon to where we think we're going. I can see it going a number of different ways, so it's going to be interesting. So that's, for me, is the way I think they need to really rethink who's where. You've got the women's tag titles on Charlotte and Asuka, and I get that to a certain point, but now they need to create. I watch Impact. I will get into Hard to Kill, the Impact women's tag match, and God, absolutely tremendous. And for me, they need to do something with Asuka. Hasn't apparently defended her title in a singles match since September, which is
that is strange.
Which is they've got a Raw tag team title Raw single title that they're not using. Drew McIntyre seems to be working. Keith Lee 1 minute is the top, and then he's tagging with Sheamus and destroys the ring. Which, to be fair, that was a very cool spot.
I still like what they're doing.
That was a very cool spot. I'll tell you what. I saw this. Yeah, I saw this thing online, and I want to get your take. We'll get this more into the time when it gets to Royal Rumble. But I've also heard rumblings that Goldberg is going to beat Drew McIntyre at Royal Rumble, but he will just about do it, and The Miz is going to cash in on him. If that happens, I will celebrate on this podcast for a month.
Well, if it happens, it happens. I
really do hope it happens. I think the Miz and Morrison for me are epic. I love them too. I'm becoming correct. I absolutely love them too. So I hope it does. I hope it does. If Drew loses, it needs to find a way where the Miz cashes in, or if Drew wins, Miz cashes in, or if Drew wins, then it's clean. A 2-second match where Goldberg tries to go for a spear and Claymore is nut off. Because anything, we've all seen that at the Saudi Arabia match, if it ever goes longer than 5 minutes, Goldberg can't do anything, or he knocks himself out on a ring post because he can't do fucking the simplest things.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that. I think people like to use that way too much, and don't think that they might have learned from that as well. It's possible they might, they'll go a different route with it, because it comes down to who's producing the match at the end of the day. So I think we'll just have to wait and see. They might surprise us,
I'm hoping the Miz cashes in. I think it would be really cool to set up a WrestleMania match, where it's Miz versus Drew McIntyre.
But the thing is, though, do you really want to see Miz have a short title reign as well?
I don't think he will have a short title reign either.
Well, that's what it sounds like if he's going to go against Drew again.
Well, no, because he's got John Morrison, so he's going to cheat his way through it. If you're a heel champion is so much easier.
You want to see Drew lose, though. That's my point. When he's been on a hot streak, that's what I'm trying to get at. I don't.
But Drew McIntyre will still get him. He lost to Randy Orton and gained it back in 7 days. Not even that, I don't think. Was it 2 days?
Yeah, but you're telling me that he loses it to Miz and can't retain it for a few months.
Who says that he says that he will go on to that. They might do a draft where he goes over and faces Roman because of the unfinished business he has and
Time will
stuff like
tell.
that.
I just don't think that's the right route to go. Well, not 100% the right route to go with.
I think the Miz cashing in on Drew or Goldberg, and then Morrison and Miz cheating their way completely out of every match that they have with Drew.
What
to
if?
a point where it will get annoying because it shouldn't happen, is the way that the Miz's character always worked perfectly.
All right, okay. Well, let me put the scenario then. What if Keith Lee is in the mix?
Well, then he'll take out McIntyre, and Miz will just slither his way in. That's the thing. The Miz's character is so perfect for a champion because you can duck and dive and wheel and deal your way in and out of things. That's why there is endless things of doing it. With Drew, he's very, very good and he's on a hot streak, and I love Drew McIntyre. But then at the same time, how long does the babyface I can destroy everyone get to a point where you go, there's literally no one he can't beat? And then the Miz goes, yeah, there is, cash in and do it. So it sort of protects them both and does it with both. Anyway, we're getting on with if Vince McMahon's watching this, we'll start using our things and we'll copy him right in it. So if you want it, you have to employ me. NXT. It was the start of the Dusty Cup. We had the promo between Thatcher and Ciampa. We had Gargano versus Loomis. And then we had Finn, and it looking like Pete Dunne, or it might be Kyle O'Reilly, Finn, and Pete Dunne in a triple threat match. I think Valentine's Day is the next pay-per-view for NXT. Let's talk about NXT then. Dusty Cup highlights for you. Who stood out to you the most?
I'm just trying to think now. Okay.
I could tell you mine easily off the top of my head.
No, I'll say mine. It's definitely got to be. Oh man, the names have just escaped my head now. The Grizzled veterans, the Grizzled young veterans. Them two definitely come to mind. But also MSK. Yeah, them two definitely impressed me. I don't know if I'm saying that I'm a fan just yet, but I'm gonna say that what they did in that match did quite. Yeah, they did kind of leave an impression on me. So yeah, I'd like to see where they go with them too. Obviously, I never followed them on TNA. I know one of them. That's about it. His name was Desmond Xavier, wasn't it? Yeah, he's going by a different name now. I can't remember out of my head, but yeah, he's the only guy who I know off. But that's about it.
Yeah, MSK. I put out on Twitter that they will become probably my favorite tag team. Grizzled young veterans are always my favorite whenever they step in the room, because Zach Gibson will generate so much heat just by talking than anyone else can ever do.
I don't think anyone knows why they're supposed to hate him.
No, everyone knows why they hate him, because he's a dickhead. So I think everyone knows.
That's not really a reason, though, is it?
Yeah, because he's a dickhead. He's an arsehole.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't really tell you why you hate him, though. That's my point.
It tells you that he's a dickhead and you don't like him.
I mean, look at MJF, for example. He gives you actual reasons to hate him because, he chats so much shit and everything. With Zaki just talking and people just aren't booing him. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, but MJF shit. He's not even a good heel.
What?
I don't rate him at all. At all. I've watched him and I don't rate him. I think he's all right, but I don't get the hype around him. And his in-ring ability is nowhere near as good as his mouth.
He's a good heel. I would say he does go for cheap heat a lot, but
he is the definition of the Randy Orton heat, where Randy Orton was perfect at jabbing little things that would piss people off all the time. Where Zach Gibson makes you want him, and then you like him, and then you'll go, oh, MJF can have a photo, and then he'll do like the old, oh, fuck off, all this and all of that. Where Zach Gibson is someone you actually hate because he annoys you by his voice, by what he says, the way he talks, and the way he
moves in
the ring, everything about him. My personal opinion, and this is my personal opinion, Zach Gibson is a better heel than MJF by a mile.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not saying MJF's the greatest heel of all time because he certainly isn't that.
Nowhere near the greatest heel in the past 2 years.
I'll say
Roman,
what I like
if we're
about
talking
him.
about great heels, Roman Reigns is 20 times better than MJF ever was.
More heat, yes, without even trying. Capitalized it even when he wasn't trying to. Yeah, I'll give him that. The thing about MJF, which I think he doesn't get enough credit for, is that he actually tries to go that old school way and like goes for every little opportunity to get heat. And what I like about that, which I don't think people say, is that, put it simply, people like to moan, oh, there's not enough, kayfabe in this industry and all that bullshit. And here's a guy who's trying to live it, and trying to live his life to keep, getting that heat, which and people, say that's taking it too far. I'm just like, if the same people say he's taking too far, you're like, oh, there's no such thing as kayfabe, you know what I'm saying? So I
He's
think,
also friends with Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho could go fuck himself. So, anyway,
Chris has made it hard for me to like him as well in recent.
He was used to be in my top 5 greatest wrestlers of all time. He was in my top 6, top 7. He's now in like the bottom 3 with Velveteen
I still
Dream
think
at
he's
the
one of the
moment.
best, but I think he just let himself
I
go
think
down.
Ryback's better than Chris Jericho. We'll talk about Ryback later.
Are you actually putting that in the same sentence now?
Yeah, MSK for me are going to be very much the future of the NXT Tag Team division. I think it really shows this Dusty Cup how stacked the NXT Tag Team division is and how good they can be. We're starting off this week as the women's, which I think is an excellent idea, doing the women's Dusty Cup as well. So that's starting this week as well. So it's very exciting. We will discuss that on next week's podcast as well, go through it. And then we have Dexter Lumis. It's looking like him and fucking, what's his name?
Gargano.
No.
Kushida.
Thank you. Him and Kushida are going to be the next ones in line for Gargano's North American title.
I hate when they do it this way because it makes me harder for me to pick who I want it, because I don't want to see Gargano as champ because I'm bored of him at this point. So I'd rather it. Well, I wanted it to be Lumis next, but now throwing Kushida in, I think has been underutilized in that mix, and it's just like, oh, you know what I mean. So anyone but Gargano at this point for me, I'm happy with.
I like Dexter Lumis has this vibe with me at the moment that I enjoy a lot.
I'll say that I feel like Lumis is a bit more deserving because he was supposed to be in that tournament to begin with months ago before he got injured. So I'll say that a part of me feels like he deserves a bit more, but then again, also Kushida is underutilized, so it's a tough call.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher, for me, did one of the best promos. Sat face to face with Bad News. I'm calling him Bad News Barrett, just because I loved it when he was that.
Who doesn't miss that?
With Wade Barrett. What's his real name? Stu Bennett.
Stu Bennett.
With Wade Barrett. That I've seen, I think, in a very long time. The intensity.
Can I just say?
Go on.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I remember I tweeted about this. The first thing I said was like, it's like watching them two argue is like watching two old war veterans argue one another. That's what it's like with them two, and I like it. I like it.
It's the intensity, and it's the big fight feel you get from them.
But I hate to say Ciampa is a better talker. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, he 100% is. But I would give Tommaso Ciampa the best talker, and one of the best talkers, no matter where he is, heel, face, no matter what he's doing. I feel like he is a great talker. Timothy Thatcher is more an in-ring fighter that really stands out more than Ciampa.
What I like about Thatcher is he looks like he legitimately could kill you. That's the thing. He has. As a talker, I can't say he intimidates me, but when he starts, when he does his thing in the ring, he legit looks like he can, stretch you basically. And Yeah, I've said this numerous times. I'll say it again. I think it's a crime how he's been utilized. You know, like the way he's been booked. His win loss his win loss record has been a bit, very unbalanced. So I feel like he deserves a bit more. And I'm hoping that this year
You
just
know,
puts
you've
a
used
clean
that
slate for
word,
him.
underutilized, like quite a
And
lot
I
in the past. You used it
which
on
one?
Kushida,
Yeah,
you used it on Thatcher, and you've also used it on Cesaro. Do you not think it gets to a point, and I said this and I tweeted it, and we did a
I should have seen
poll
this
as well,
coming.
that it gets to a point where the word underutilized isn't correct, and they're just not good enough at that time to have that win.
I'll give you that. Yes, there are times when that is the case, but I feel like when it comes to those guys, there's the exception because it applies to them a bit more. You know,
Nah. Yeah, I get it. And then lastly, it's looking like Finn, Pete, and Kyle O'Reilly will be or Finn and Pete will be going for the title. Finn Balor said in the interview before he got into NXT that the one match he really wants to do is him versus Pete Dunne. They've never wrestled before during their time away from WWE because he was in NXT. No, he was in New Japan when he was coming up in the British scene, and never got the opportunity to wrestle each other, by my knowledge.
no,
I
they
think
haven't. They haven't.
this could, and I said this, take all my money, as much money as I possibly could have, is I think this match could be one of the best matches in NXT history.
I'm down for it myself. I feel like Pete would be the perfect guy to take the title off him, to be honest.
I don't want him to do that because then that would just
Um,
mean Karen Cross just comes in and absolutely annihilates him. And I like both of them.
but the thing is, like, Cross doesn't have to take it off him straight away as well. Cross can just, be in the background, going for everyone, and then take it when he needs it. He doesn't necessarily need to go for it straight away. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. So NXT was a very good show for me. Really enjoyed watching it. Let's get on to Smackdown. Starting off with the new, it looks like WWE have nicked the NFL's 8-camera system that they use in the NFL, which to me
I love
is
it.
so good.
I
Oh my
love it.
God.
I'm not gonna pretend. I liked it. I think it's
I
the best way
fucking
they'll
love it.
really. I would say I feel like they should use it. They don't have to overuse it too much. Uh, yeah, I think there are ways they can go around it, but I feel like using it on that show is definitely the smart move, and it just makes their show even better. So,
And also it's on Fox,
I'm
and
happy with
Fox
it.
use it on the NFL. So it's quite fucking easy to get for them as well. So kicking off the show was a brilliant promo by Oos, which then set up an excellent match and a very, very good match between him and Nakamura,
King
where
of Strong Styles
Nakamura
back.
got the win. I'll tell you what, how your opinion changes of one person in 2 weeks is okay. So we moaned about WWE booking on Raw, but their booking on SmackDown has been exceptionally good.
And you can
How you
thank
can
Daniel
just,
Bryan for that.
in my brain, I've just forgotten about the last year and a half, last year for Nakamura, and just gone, Jesus, this guy is a legit fucking man. He's a beast.
Yeah, it feels like the old is back, isn't it? And like I said,
He's even got
King
his
of,
whole theme song.
like I said, the King of Strong Styles back, mate. So I ain't complaining. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, it just goes to show what happens when you book the show right, when you have the right people doing it. So
I want to
from
get
that
your
to be in the
opinion on
position.
this. Talking of booking,
Yeah, Karen.
Apollo Crews. He seems to be having alignment with Roman Reigns.
Didn't see that coming. I like it.
I get it. Then I don't get it, but it's one of those that I don't get, but I can see working.
For me, I don't think he even needs to necessarily completely align himself with him. I think he can just be that guy who's with him, and is learning from him, and then I'm trying to say and doing it that way. So I think that's the right way to go with him. Yeah, 100%. I feel like Apollo Crews has lacked. I've said this before. I feel like when he got called up years ago, I felt it was way too early for him because he never really developed any personality. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is the way to go with him to really help him show, he's not just a smiley face.
I'll tell you,
Show that
yeah, and talking of
yeah.
smiley face, I want to talk about Daniel Bryan as Cesaro. Daniel Bryan is using his last run in WWE because we all know he's leaving at the end of his contract because he wants to be a better father and he wants to become a producer and he's not staying on. He said it on multiple interviews, I think I've said.
I don't think he's technically 100% done. I think he said he'll go to a part-time basis as well before he.
Yeah, I think he'll come in and out, but he's spending his time either one of two ways. They're either spending his time to a point where he's putting new talent over to make them look good, or they're doing the typical WWE style where they're making him look bad so that when he wins the Rumble, it will go, oh, fuck, he's done it. He's actually won a Rumble. Because I think if I'm right, that's the only thing he hasn't won. He won Money in the Bank. He's won title at WrestleMania. He's won at WrestleMania. Right. He's lost title at WrestleMania. SummerSlam is main evented, where he got cashed in on and Triple H pedigreed him. And Royal Rumble was the year that he was meant to have won it in people's eyes. Was the year Batista come back and won it and flipped everyone off. Which, to be fair, was one of the best things I've seen. And it was excellent that Batista did that.
I mean, I think they could have gone that a different route as well, because I love Dave, but I don't think that was the route for him.
I'll tell you what, I think Daniel Bryan is legitimately... okay, so when we're recording this now, so I think in 2 weeks' time, we're going to do our final predictions of where we think the Royal Rumble will be.
Yeah.
At this stand, I am between 4 people that I think will win the Royal Rumble, the men's Royal Rumble, and there's 3 people I think for the women. The men, for me, is Daniel Bryan, Keith Lee, Big E, or a member of New Day, as in Xavier Woods. I'm thinking it's going to be one of those 4. Women's side, I think it's going to be either Rhea Ripley. I think it could be. No, I don't think it's 3. I just think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. I think she's going to win Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble. Charlotte is going to beat Asuka for the title before Mania. So when it gets to Mania, it is Rhea versus Charlotte 2, and Rhea beats her this time to set up for a 3rd one later on down the line. I've booked WrestleMania already.
That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Personally, for me, I feel the final 4 should be Keith Lee as well, definitely. Trying to think, Big E, that was definitely in my mind. Who else? Shinsuke and
I don't think Shinsuke will win it because he won it before. I think Bryan will only win it. The only reason I think Bryan will only win it is because he's getting to the end of his career, that he says that his contract of where he thinks he'll turn down to a part-time, or he wants to come back to a backstage producer or a trainer in NXT, or trainer in the PC in general. I think they will get him that big.
The thing which I hate to say, because I don't think we've mentioned it yet, is I feel like if there's anyone who should also definitely win the Rumble before he retires, it's definitely got to be AJ.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Right, let's finish off. Let's go off some topics that I want to discuss. I don't know whether you've seen it. NXT UK.
No, I haven't seen it.
So there was. So there's 2 matches. There's one match that's happened that was epic, and there's one match coming up I'm very excited for.
Was that Walter versus A-Kid, isn't it?
Yeah, Walter versus A-Kid was the match that happened the other day, and I tell you what, the match that Walter had with, I can't ever pronounce his name.
Ilya Dragunov.
That was the closest I've seen Walter losing that title. A-Kid come along, and he legitimately nearly beat Walter. And that was the first time I've seen Walter in that much trouble losing it. It's slowly building to either Dragunov or A-Kid winning that title. Tyler Bate is back in NXT UK, which I'm loving. Even though he's around just to put some talent over, build some talent up as well.
How long has Walter been champion now? I swear to God,
he's nearly breaking Pete Dunne's record. He's nearly at it.
Where is he at?
I don't know where he's at. I can't remember what they said, but I know he was close to Pete Dunne's record of 600. I think 600 and something days.
Because I'd rather than wait till he gets that before they take the title off him at this point, because it just makes sense. Let's be honest.
Maybe, but at the moment, there's a lot of talent, more talent coming through the NXT UK that can legitimately. We've got Rampage Brown now, who's going up against Dave Mastiff. That's gonna be a
I remember
fight.
him from the good old what was it, British wrestling show?
Yeah, and then you've got Dragunov coming back as well. You got the kid from Seth Rollins' Academy, Ben Hart, I think his name is.
I can't say I'm the biggest fan of his work from what I've seen, because I've seen it, and a lot of it is just what everyone else can do. So he's still got a lot to impress me.
Yeah, he's one that's going to come through. And there's a match coming up. I'm going to quickly say that I'm really excited for. I think it's this week. It's Kaylee Ray versus Ginny. And my God, I'm so excited for this match. Kaylee Ray is one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE at the moment. Legitimately, she is the best, one of the best women's wrestlers. Ginny is one of the best women's wrestlers in the UK that's ever come through. So to have two powerful, extremely good wrestling women in one-on-one, I'm very excited for this match. Very excited. So sticking on with WWE before we go on to anything else, WWE have announced their next 3 WrestleManias by one of the funniest and cheesiest videos I have extremely ever seen in my life, with John Cena making his first appearance in 2021 with Sasha Banks and who was the other one?
Triple H, Stephanie, and Roman.
Roman Reigns did the best promo I've ever seen. I
haven't seen it yet, so don't say anything. I haven't seen it, but I know about it. So
oh my God, you need to see. He went. Triple H goes. Well, he was with his character. Goes, I'm going over to Sunny Nothing to do the weather, and Roman's there like, I don't even know. It's Sunny Nothing. It's Paul. Tell him. And then Paul goes and tries to do a weatherman, and then Roman just goes, no, Paul, properly. And then he'd literally dictate Paul Heyman what to say. I was like, oh. Any tougher look Roman had, he looked like a Bond villain. Which they're going from Tampa, which Kevin Owens has said that he wants to dive off the ship already. So we're hoping that happens. Then it's going to Dallas again for at the AT&T Stadium, which I think was the one. I'm not even going to try and pronounce which one I think that one is. Was that the one where Undertaker lost to Brock?
Trying to think.
Was that AT&T?
I don't think so.
Was that the Superdome?
Yeah, that was the Superdome.
Right.
I remember that because that was the same night Hogan was there.
Yeah, and then it's going to LA, to the SoFi Stadium, the new stadium that the LA Rams and LA Chargers are in, which has 90,000 seaters. I think 90,000 seater it has in that. That's a beautiful stadium as well, especially if you play it in Madden. It's a very beautiful stadium to play in. So that's going on. Ryback. We're going to really brush over him because I can't be bothered talking about him. He come out with a statement saying, he come out of a video that I watched, and I watched it all the way through, and I don't know why I watched it, where he basically says, when he basically says, wrestling's fake, people are fake, the championship belts that you use are props. WWE is a shit company that they tried to take my name. I won the battle. I am Ryback. I am this. I don't deserve it. Fuck WWE. I tell you what, how much rent WWE must be getting paid for how long they live rent free in Ryback's brain, it's ridiculous.
Usually I never really bother with him because I'm just like, he's not the only guy who's complaining, so whatever. But
No,
this
people
one I couldn't let
people
go.
will complain and people will moan every
Mm.
so often, but then they will stop and they will get on with their lives. Like Rusev moaned, went to AEW's done fuck all with his career in AEW. You've got
Yeah.
the Gallows
Punk,
and
let's be honest.
Addison, who even in an interview, every time they ask about WWE, go, we've got no heartfelt feelings for them. We've
Yeah.
got nothing but respect and say thank you for the opportunities they gave us, but we're now
Yeah.
out to go and make as much money as we can. You have Ryback,
And
who
let's not.
left in 2013, 14, I think it was. 7 years since he left, and he's still fucking going on about it.
I think it was a bit after that, but
Oh,
I'm saying is
I'm
that then
so
again you also
glad
got
John
Punk as
Cena
well.
never put him over.
You've also got Punk as well, who's also always been a bit on and off about it. But yeah, that said, yeah, I don't know why he did that. It's like it kind of also misses. If he ever wanted to go to AEW, now he's kind of, you know what I'm
He won't
saying?
ever, and the thing that he's done is he won't ever get a big job anymore because of when he said wrestling isn't what everyone wants it to be. It's sports entertainment. The props of a championship are just props. He's never going to win a fucking title again. Why would you say it's just a prop? Fucking dumb bald
It's kind
headed,
of
steroid taking knobhead.
he's kind of blackballed himself from getting signed from any promotion by the sound of it.
He sucked himself out of getting any wrestling gig because if there was any decent promoter out there about not getting heat or actual wrestlers that want to wrestle him, you're never going to get that unless you get up and coming kids that will just do anything for money. That's all you're going to get. You've got
I
on
think,
here Hall of Fame
yeah.
situation.
I just want to say also, I'm glad that Mark Henry spoke up about it because I think somebody had to say something about it properly, and Mark, he's got a lot of heat over the Leo Rush thing, which I think it's a damn shame that he never saw anything of Leo Rush, but I'm
I
sure that
don't see
hopefully
anything
they're
in Leo
going to
Rush.
really.
Yeah.
Forget that
I
anyway.
think his
But yeah, my
in-ring
point
work
is, I'm glad that he spoke up.
I think his in-ring work is good. I think he thinks too much of flipping than he does with wrestling moves, and his promo work is
No,
awful.
fair enough. Fair enough. I think I still think he's one of the top talents in the world. Not the
No, he's
best
not
of the
even.
best.
Even Kenny Omega is above him, and I don't rate Kenny Omega either. And I watched him, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
You're gonna bring him into this now, are you? Okay. I said you're gonna bring him into this as well now, are you?
No, Kenny Omega, I think, is an excellent heel. I think he's an excellent
I
person to
think he's
promote a
good.
company. I don't get
I
when
think
I
he's good, but I
watch.
still
We'll talk about it in a minute. When I watch his in-ring work, I don't see where people call him the best in the world. I don't see it.
now if you were talking about him from 2015 to 2008, 19,
But okay, so
2018 somehow,
I
that's a
saw
different
someone.
situation.
I saw someone someone said what you just said, and someone come back with, you not think about whoever the people that everyone talks about who the best in the world is. Like at the moment, people talk about Kota Ibushi as one of the best wrestlers in the world because of what he's
Yeah.
done in New Japan and the Wrestle Kingdom. And you talk about other wrestlers as well going around. Have we not all realised that the common factor is Okada?
Pardon me?
Have we not thought that the factor for everyone's career and how good the matches and the 5-star matches everyone wants is because of Okada, not because of Ibushi or
So you're
Kenny
saying it's
Omega?
because are you saying it's because Okada's carrying the matches? Is that what you're telling me?
100%. I watched Okada matches recently, and I tell you what, he is legitimately one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I will stand by.
I've spoken highly of him myself.
And
I said
I think
he's one of the
he's
top guys in the
carried,
world.
and he won't ever go to WWE, and he won't ever go to AEW. And Impact could happen because there seems to be a partnership growing with Impact and New Japan.
I don't know about that. I have a feeling that something could happen with that one because I know there's definitely some interest there. So we'll have to wait and see on that
WWE have
one.
been interested in him. He's been backstage and everything with WWE for a
So
long time.
time
So
will tell. Time will
yeah,
definitely
I
tell.
hope he does. You want to talk about Hall of Fame?
Yes, yeah.
What's going on? I don't know nothing about this.
Yeah, so the last thing I heard was that the guys who didn't get inducted last year have to now do it. I'm probably going to do it this year, but it's going to be like virtual, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that's really unfair because it just takes away the whole ceremony, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
I think it's one of those situations where they can give them the ring, do all of the stuff and do the speech. And I think what they will do is what they do with a number of things is when a full crowd is back, we will get Undertaker again. We will get the Hall of Famers to come out and say thank you ever so much. I think we will get that situation. But at the moment, you can't stop or wait things because of this. You just have to go with the flow.
I just like I said, I feel bad for them. You know, I feel like
Oh
a lot
yeah,
of them. You know,
100%.
like I've said this numerous
And I hope
times.
they
I feel
add Christian
Batista.
to the fucking list as well.
Yeah, that'll happen when it happens. Yeah, but I was gonna say is that I feel like someone like Batista doesn't get enough credit for his work.
Mm.
I remember one guy, I read this comment once, and he was like, "Oh, he was just another big guy. He came in, nothing special." And I'm just like, this guy carried SmackDown in a time when it was considered the second show. He played second to John Cena for years, and he spoke against the whole PG thing, you know, and he worked his ass off.
Some of
Even
his
after
best work he did was with Eddie Guerrero and Rey
Undertaker
Mysterio.
and Undertaker, yeah.
But yeah, I think they need to do it. But lastly, I want to finish off with
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go off on a tangent here and just tell you how much I loved Hard to Kill Impact. I saw people
Go
talk
for
about
it.
this and say it was going to be good. But there were stars in there that I never thought or I never really heard about before, but watched it for the first time. So there's the first match on the card was I can't fucking remember. I'm trying to get this thing up on my bloody thing here so he could tell me what I was going for. So let me just go and get that. Let me just pause and I'll be back. Yeah, so I found it now. So it was Tanila Dashwood, who was in WWE, who was in there, and she and his partner KB went up against Decay, who was Rosemary and Crazy
Yeah, I know about
Steve.
them.
And I tell you what, that was an excellent mixed match challenge. Then you had the ridiculous but extremely funny Ethan Page versus the Karate Man. Which pissed Ethan Page off a lot, by the way. Impact edited it, and he's come off all social media because of it, because he doesn't want to talk about it. And then there was a old school hardcore match between Eric Young and his two partners versus Rhino, Tommy Dreamer, and another one where a cheese grater was involved. And a
Jesus.
table as well. And we all know good old Rhino loves a good gore. That happened as well. And then a match who I think that needs to be watched more is the X Division match, which was between I've got to try and get Maniac, who is TJ Perkins, Chris Bay,
Manic, yeah.
and Rohit Ranji, I think his name is. I can't see the name, so I can't say it.
Talking about.
And I tell you what, it was one of the best matches I've seen. And Chris Bay, and I tweeted him this, and I'm talking to him and trying to get him on the podcast because I really like his work. I tweeted him and I said, he is a star for the future. He is going to be one of the best wrestlers in the world. I am so hyped by watching his work in the ring. It was one of the biggest surprise, but excellent. The women's tag team match between Havoc. It was Havoc and someone else with Kira Hogan and Tanisha Stills. And Havoc in that match, she's the a type of like a Nia Jax, but can actually wrestle. And she is a very big future. And then you had, which was a very, very brutal match. Eddie Kingston versus Sami Callihan in a barbed wire match, which at one point, Sami Callihan got a Nintendo 64 controller, which was wrapped in barbed wire and smashed it over their head. It was one of the most brutal, but one of the best storytelling hardcore matches I've seen in a very long time. And then Diana Piazzo versus
Diana Purrazzo.
versus Tanya Valkyrie. I can't ever say names. who Johnny
Taya
Mondo's,
Valkyrie.
Johnny Mercer, Johnny Impact's wife. And I tell you what, that was the best technical women's match I have seen in 2021 and 2020 combined. What an outstanding match. And then we go on to the main event, which was Rich Swann, Moose, and Chris Sabian. But Moose come in at the end because it was meant to have been Alex Shelley, the Motor City Machine Gun, but unfortunately Alex Shelley got injured. And so Moose come in versus AEW champion Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers in Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And I tell you what, Rich Swann did not help himself in WWE. Let's put it that way. But my God, he is an excellent wrestler, and that match, like Kenny Omega really did well in that match, and it took the finishing maneuver of the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega's Winged Angel to beat him for the title. But my God, did Impact come out? Now I'm excited to watch each week. I'm now looking forward to watching Impact Wrestling. I need to know which days it's on, but I'm really excited to go and watch Impact Wrestling because that pay, especially with AEW on there as well, and it's looking like they've got a growing partnership. Zack Ryder, I'm calling him that, come down to the ring to face, and another wrestler who I think has a massive future, and another one who I think will be the very best is Ace Austin. My God, his in-ring ability he outshone Zack Ryder, which not hard to do, in the ring, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, so that's my take. If you guys out there want to watch some other wrestling apart from WWE and AEW, I would really recommend go and watching Impact Wrestling. I can't say enough how happy I am that I think his name's Mark, but his Twitter is Wrestle Judas or Wrestle Jub, or I'm going to try and find it. He was the one who tweeted about it. And I want to give him a massive thank you, because if it wasn't for you pointing me in the right direction of it, I'm going to see if I can quickly find it while we talk. Yeah, Wrestling Jubus. You'll see it in the link down description down below. He is wrestling everything, one of the best fans going.
Yeah, I know.
Loves every opinion. And he asked me to give him his opinion. I gave my opinion, and he loved it as well. So it's really given me. Everyone needs to go and watch AEW and AEW Impact Wrestling as well. Go and watch. You don't have to be those kids or the people like Brian Alvarez that just worry about the numbers. You just want to worry about watching proper wrestling. And if people keep telling you about numbers, fuck them. Just go and enjoy and watch what you want to watch. Simple. But yeah, but that's it. Thank you guys ever so much. Thank you, Gulan, for coming on. We will do a special announcement in the next by the next podcast. We will do an announcement about the wrestling podcast moving forward, and then we will go from there. But thank you ever so much, Gulan, for coming on, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.